Good morning. This is Tom Alexander. It is Sunday, November 5th. It is about 8:40 a.m. Eastern Time in beautiful Savannah, Georgia. This is going to be a bit abbreviated this weekend. I have some things that I have to take care of today, so I don't know if I'll be back in time to do the report. And I wanted to get this out because we had a really historic week. Coming off of that low last week. Last weekend, I think a lot of people were concerned about a crash. And indeed, we had a crash. We are in the midst of a crash to the upside. We have panic buying, which is, different side of the exact same coin. This is panic. We gapped up last week, 4 out of 5 days. We're at a rate of change to the upside that is unsustainable. But now we know that low was a very important low. Tremendous upside momentum. Let's take a look at the charts. And you see here, this is the SPX. And if we were to continue to the upside at the same rate of change from the low on October 27th, we would be at new highs, above new highs by next Friday in the SPX. So could that happen? Yeah, it could, but that's not the way. I wouldn't bet a lot of money on it. Now, what is more likely to happen, because this is so much upside momentum, that following any sort of retracement, which is inevitable, I'm not saying it starts in Globex or starts on Monday, but it is inevitable that at some point, sooner rather than later, we're going to have a more two-sided market. We're going to have a market that trades up and down for a day or two. The ramp, the panic buying will dissipate. The market will become more two-sided. That's the way it works. It works to the upside. It works to the downside. This is an unsustainable rate of change. We are also in an area, a key reference area to the upside from an auction market perspective. No magic numbers involved, just auction market trading, which requires you look at what market participants had done previously as levels of potential importance. So you had volume in here on the horizontal scale. You had a series of highs in here. Well, we've reached that level. So this would be a candidate for this market to begin to at least slow down near this area. Now, let's take a look at the other indices. I did not post this. By the way, this is posted on the website, alexandertrading.com. Go to weekend update and you will see charts there. This weekend, I'm not having, I don't have as many charts as I typically do. Again, I have a very busy day and this is the amount of time I have. But because this is such an incredible ramp and it's going to be extremely interesting to see what happens in the first few days of next week, I will be updating again. So stay tuned. By the way, if you find value in this, please like the channel, please subscribe. It helps with the algorithm and all this other stuff. Okay. Where was I? Let's look at other stuff, other indices. Okay, the Russell. Now, this is a weekly chart of the Russell. And you can see it too has reached an area of potential resistance from an auction market perspective. This was an absolutely critical level. This was an inflection point. You could have bet strongly, and you typically want to be betting strongly when you're at these inflection points that you're going to get a sharp move. Again, that's weekly. Let's take a look at the NDX. The NDX, of course, had a ramp. Let's see, how much was the ramp in the NDX? Let's just take a look. So the NDX was up 7.74%. Same rate of change would take this thing well above all-time highs. Somewhere up in here if we continue the same rate of change. Now, again, could that happen? It could, but I have a hard time thinking that we're going to do this again at the same rate of change. The Dow, same deal. Everything is in lockstep to the upside. Huge ramp last week off of the lows of the 27th. So you can see everything would be at new all-time highs if we continue the same rate of change, which I don't expect. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the profile perspective real quickly. This is the fourth quarter auction has just begun. It's already, I won't say, well, there's going to be range expansion here. A candidate for at least slowing, you're sort of there. We have this high, but you have a volume node from last quarter right here. I outlined the schematic of how this thing could be developing. It could reach a high here and then develop inside. There are a lot of, it's early, so there's a lot of different paths this thing could take. What I don't expect is for this thing to just slice through this area without some sort of retracement. I sort of expect that you're going to become more two-sided, and maybe we balance in here for a week, a few days, etc., even if we're going to go ramping higher. Now, understand each one of these letters is 1 week of trade, not 1 day of trade. Okay. Let's take a look at internals. Now, what you see here, I use something very simple in terms of quote unquote indicators. I only use market data. I use NYSE advancing and declining issues. I use them 2 ways. I use just pure breadth, which you see down here, the histogram. The green is a 5-day moving average of advancing issues. The red is a 10-day moving average of advancing issues. The 5-day moving average of advancing issues just does not get more extreme than it is at the moment. I have highlighted recent times it has become this extreme. Now, one thing you'll notice, only in one instance did the market top immediately with a substantial decline, and that was back here. Now, as I always say, anything can happen. But what you're looking for at a minimum is some sort of a more two-sided trade that includes balance, includes some form of retracement of a day or so. And I've gone back. This was a top. Okay, this was a significant top, but this was way back in 21. I've highlighted other times. This was a more two-sided trade prior to a sort of a more protracted top. This was a top. This was a top. Had some two-sided trade in here, two-sided trade in here. So you understand the drill. Now, I'm not suggesting the great decline is imminent because of this. I'm just showing there's tremendous momentum here that is unsustainable at this rate of change. Could we go higher into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Yeah, we could. But you have to be aware that you're increasingly likely to see more two-sided trade. And there are a number of different ways, the number of different strategic and tactical ways to approach that, depending on the time frame you trade. I in particular like this as for day trading, because day trading, you're almost certainly going to see a more two-sided trade, which is a nice segue into the 30-minute SPX chart. Now, this is breadth below. This is price. This is again 30-minute chart. You can see we have 4 of the last 5 days have gapped up, none of which have been closed. Gaps don't have to be closed, contrary to popular belief. It is likely that at some point, 1 or more of these gaps will be closed. However, even when gaps get closed, you may have run out of money by the time they get closed, thinking they're going to be closed. So that's not a trade strategy. It's an indicator of momentum more than anything else, and most accurately. So we have tremendous upside momentum. You can see we've reached this area from an auction market perspective that could be a short-term stopping price, and we could get development around that area. Now, that said, the price breadth relationship, particularly in bull trends, has a certain personality. So what I'll be watching for early next week, when we inevitably get some sort of the buying stops. You don't even have to have selling come in, just the buying frenzy, the feeding frenzy stops. You will get a contraction in breadth, and that contraction in breadth will be down here. And at that point in time, you want to take a look at where price is, how price is acting to the downside as this occurs, and that in bull trends can be a signal to begin looking for buy opportunity. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I know this is short and sweet, but I promise I will have something out as the week progresses, because this is quite an interesting time. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll speak with you again soon.